Remember, we fight for what's right because it's time to go right.
Time to go right. Time to go right. Time to go right.
It's a call to unite. So rise up, step up, go right. Go right. Stand for the truth, stand for the light. Go right. Lead with honor, defend what's right. It's a movement, it's a mission, it's a call to unite. So rise up, step up, go right. Go right. We do right, integrity strong. Decide. Hey, go right. Stand for the truth. Stand for the light. Hey, go right. Lead with honor. Defend what's right. It's a movement. It's a mission. It's a call to unite. So rise up, step up, go right. Building up, not tearing, be strong. We think right. Logic leads on. We live right with honor and pride. We vote right, we the people decide. Go right, not tearing down. Standing tall on solid ground. The future bright, future strong. Go right and bring it on. Go right, stand for the truth, stand for the light. They go right, lead with honor, defend what's right. One might, we the people go right, go right. This is Go Right with Peter Boykin, where truth has a voice. Go right with Peter Boykin, where truth has a voice. We the people go right. This is Go Right with Peter Boykin, where truth has a voice.
Hey folks, this is Peter Boykin, and you have joined us at hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin. Today we're going to do a shift. We're going to talk about more North Carolina news. You can get these articles at GoRightNC.com and GoRightNews.com. Just to remind you that hashtag GoRight is more than politics, it's a way of life. Hashtag GoRight isn't just about politics, it's about doing what's right in every aspect of life. It's about making choices. It's about that uplift, that strengthen and unite our communities. It means doing right, standing with truth, integrity, and accountability, thinking right, using logic, common sense, and fairness in decision makings, being right, living with honor, respect, and responsibility, and voting right, electing leaders who put we the people first. Hashtag Go Right is a direction, a call of action to those who believe in building, not destroying. It's about working toward a better future together. So thank you for tuning in. We've got two articles to talk about today, and it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in. And so we're starting with a North Carolina stands firm for liberty and safety amid St. Patrick's Day revelry. I've already posted these already on Facebook and some platforms as well. People will, they've already made some comments, etc. It's always going to happen. And we're going to go right into the first article here in just one moment. All right, we're going to pull it up here in just a second. Starting with the first article. There we go. So, North Carolina stands firm for liberty and safety amid St. Patrick's Day revelry. Again, you can also get these on GoRightNews.com, and you can also get them on GoRightNC.com. As I live in North Carolina, I will at least once per week go over some North Carolina news or include it as needed. All right, so North Carolina stands firm in liberty and safety amid St. Patrick's Day revelry. A tale of two roads. And as usual, I need to increase the size by a smidge. All right. Tale of two roads. Picture this: a winding North Carolina highway stretches out under a canopy of budding dogwoods, the air thick with the promise of spring. A family cruises along, kids laughing in the back seat, heading to a St. Patrick's Day celebration in Raleigh, North Carolina. Meanwhile, another driver swerves dangerously close, his judgment dulled by one too many green beers. In a heartbeat, joy could turn to tragedy. This is the stark reality our constitutional republic faces every holiday season. A clash between personal freedom and the collective duty to protect life and liberty. Here at Go Right News and Go Right NC, we're diving into the latest headlines, shaking up the Tar Heel state with a passionate lens rooted in constitutional principles and a moderate to conservative Republican heartbeat. Let's break it down. The facts expand at a deep dive. Public safety. Booze it or lose it. The campaign underway across North Carolina. Governor Josh Stein's highway safety program has rolled out its annual St. Patrick's Day Booze It or Lose It enforcement blitz, as nationwide or statewide, well, you could say nationwide as well, statewide effort to clamp down on impaired driving as the Shamrock-fueled festivities approach. The NC Department of Transportation's press release lays it out plain and simple. From now until St. Patrick's Day, North Carolinians can expect a surge in law enforcement presence, more patrols, more sobriety checkpoints, and zero tolerance for those who dare to mix booze with the open road. This isn't just about curbing your fun, folks. It's about safeguarding the God given right to life that our constitutional republic was built on. Last year's campaign saw 784 DWI charges handing out, a sobering reminder of the stakes. Even more alarming, 71 of those were slapped on drivers under the age of 21. Kids barely old enough to vote, yet alone drank legally. Colonel Freddie L. Johnson Jr., commander of the North Carolina State Highway Patrol, didn't mince words. He said embracing fun traditions is one thing. Engaging in a deadly behavior that is drinking and driving is another. Getting behind the wheel after consuming alcohol puts lives at risk. And he's right. Liberty doesn't mean license to endanger others. NCGHSP Director Mark Ezell echoed that sentiments, noting that the consequences of driving while impaired are life-altering. This campaign isn't just a crackdown, it's a call to personal responsibility, a cornerstone of our republic. So law enforcement ramps up on patrols and checkpoints ahead of St. Patrick's Day. From the mountain roads of Asheville to the coastal plains of Wilmington, North Carolina's finest are hitting the streets in force. The NCDO team made it clear law enforcement will be out there in droves, setting up checkpoints and patrolling hotspots where St. Patty's Day revelry might spill over into recklessness. I think somebody already commented, they're magically delinquent or something like that. Think of those rolling hills in Buncombe County or the bustling streets of Charlotte. Every mile will have eyes on it. Why? Because last year, 784 DWIs weren't just numbers. They were near misses, potential wrecks, and shattered lives averted. Johnson drives it home. Quote, as law enforcement officers, we witness firsthand the devastation and loss caused by alcohol-impaired driving, along with the lasting pain it inflicts on families, friends, and entire communities. This isn't overreach. This isn't just overreach. This isn't overreach. It's the state fulfilling its constitutional duty to secure the general welfare. Opinion alert: some might cry "nanny state," but other might. But I'd argue that this aligns with the framers' vision: government stepping in where individual choices threaten the common good. Freedom is great, folks, but it stops where your fist meets my nose, or your car meets my family's minivan. So here's some legislative updates. A Senate bill introduced to increase car inspection fees in North Carolina. Meanwhile, over in Raleigh, the North Carolina Senate is stirring the pot with a new bill that's hiked up car inspection fees across the state. Details are still trickling out, but the proposal's got mechanics and motorists alike buzzing. Currently, the fee sits at $13.60 for a basic safety inspection, a bargain compared to some states. This bill could push it higher. Some whisper it might climb past $20 to cover rising costs and supposedly improve road safety. And supporters say it's about keeping junkers off of our highways. Critics call it another tax grab by our government that's forgotten thrift. Opinion time, folks. As a constitutionalist, I'm skeptical. The state's got a duty to ensure safe roads, sure, but piling fees on law-abiding citizens feels like a stretch when they're already stretched thin. No word yet on when the Senate will vote, but you can bet Go Right NC will keep tabs on this one. From Greensboro to Gastonia, folks deserve to know how deep the state's reaching into their wallets. And I'm going to let you know, I've already got somebody who kind of said that they read this article already, and the first thing they commented was, the ticket or lose it isn't about a money grab. I wasn't talking about a money grab. That had nothing to do with the ticket or lose it group. Yes, there's fines and stuff, but you know when you drink too much, you might get a DWI, and it costs a lot of money because you could have endangered people's lives or your own life. But that had nothing to do with the money grab. The money grab is more about the inspection fees, and it's a balance of what needs to be done for your car and what needs to be done for the roads. And with all the things going on in North Carolina, I guess an increase possibly probably happens. Everything's going up as it seems. And we got to make sure that the workers, especially now that we're getting more legal workers, are getting paid well for their job and the danger. Imagine standing on the side of the highway is dangerous. I mean, you freak out just if your car breaks down. Somebody might just come and smack you. So here's the monologue, a constitutionalist cry from the heart. Folks, this is North Carolina, land of the free, home of the brave, and a constitutional republic that's supposed to balance liberty with order. I'm Peter Boykin, your voice at Go Right News and Go Right NC, and I'm fired up. Let's start with the Booze It and Lose It campaign. Look, I love a cold one. Not really, I don't. But I like a nice cold drink. And if I did choose to drink alcohol, I'd be like any other person. Uh, St. Patrick's Day can be a blast, but with bagpipes blaring and the corned beef simmering. But when you stumble out of a pub in Durham or a bar in Boone, you think you're fine to drive. You're not just risking your life, you're rolling the dice with mine. My kids, if I had kids, my neighbors, other people's kids. But Colonel Johnson nailed it. Drinking and driving is not an option. But making sure someone sober will be behind the wheel is. That's not Big Brother talking. That's common sense. The kind our founders baked into the Constitution. Fresh baked right into the Constitution. Liberty's sacred, but it's not a free pass to turn I-40 into a demolition derby. Last year, again, 784 DWIs, 71 of them kids under the age of 21. 71. What's it going to take, Tar Heels and Duke fans? A wreck in your backyard? A funeral in your church? Plan a ride, call a friend, stay alive. That's the North Carolina way. Now pivot to Raleigh. This car infection fees hikes got my blood boiling. The Senate's playing fast and loose with our wallets, slapping a new burden on folks from Murphy to Manteno. Safety's the excuse, but where's the accountability? Show me the data, prove these inspections stopped wrecks, not just pad the state's coffers, because there's other states where they don't do state inspections. In fact, it keeps a lot of people off the road. It keeps a lot of people from doing the inspections being with, and they just kind of squeeze by and ride and hope they don't get in trouble. I'm all for safe roads, everybody, but I'm not for a government overreach dressed up as concern. Our constitutional republic thrives when it thrusts us to maintain our own rigs, not when it's nickel and diming us into submission. Opinion? You bet. That reeks of bureaucracy run amok. And we've got a right to know what's coming, and I'll be watching those senators like a hawk. It's all about principle, people. Freedom tempered by duty. Safety secured by reason, not revenue. North Carolina's at a crossroads. Will we hold fast to the Constitution or let it erode under excuses? I say we stand tall, drive sober, and demand transparency. And that's the go right way. And here's the hashtag Go Right Recap Remix. Here's the remix, y'all. North Carolina is gearing up for St. Patrick's Day with Booze It or Lose It. Cops are out, checkpoints are up, and 784, I'm going to say it again, DWIs last year proved the stakes are very high. Meanwhile, the Senate's eyeing your wallet with a car inspection fee jump. Safety or shakedown, you decide. At Go Right News and Go Right NC, we're calling it like we see it. Liberty first, responsibility always, and government on a leash. For the full scoop, swing by to GoRightNews.com, catch us on Rumble.com, or Go Right News, or Go Right NC, Go Right News, GoRightNC.com. Catch us on Rumble.com, hunt down hashtag Go Right with Peter Boykin on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, Twitter, Parler, Truth Social, wherever I can remember to put this on. And remember, truth fights to breathe. Want to fuel the fight? Toss a buck or two via Cash App at, it's not Peter Boykin 1 anymore. It's Go Right News. So at $ Go Right News. Links are live at gorightnews.com, gorightnc.com, and peterboykin.com. Let's keep North Carolina free, safe, and fierce. See you on the right side of history. That's our first article, folks. And we got a lot more. We got one more big article to go about, and it's about the power grab in North Carolina. And thank you for tuning in to it. So let's throw up the first image of that. North Carolina is the GOP news, power plays, and Liberty's last stand in North Carolina. And I'll bring that article up here in just a second. And here we are, folks. North Carolina power plays and Liberty's last stand in North Carolina. Again, this is shared by me, Peter Boykin, an American political commentator, citizen journalist, activist, constitutionalist for liberty. We'll go right into it. Power plays and Liberty's last stand in North Carolina. A tale of two storms. Imagine a small mountain town in western North Carolina, nestled among the Blue Ridge Peaks. The people there are tough, resilient folks who've weathered storms, both natural and political. When Hurricane Helene roared through, it tore apart homes, roads, and livelihoods, leaving behind a trail of devastation. But as the floodwaters receded, another storm brewed in Raleigh, one of power grabs and partisan maneuvering that threatens to drown the very principles of our constitutional republic. This is a story of a state at crossroads, where the fight for liberty and the balance of power hangs in the balance. Welcome to North Carolina's latest chapter, where the headlines scream louder than the wind. At Go Right News and Go Right NC, we are committed to driving deep into the fray, exposing the common threads, weaving through these headlines, a relentless erosion of executive authority, a Republican-led General Assembly flexing its muscle, and a constitutional republic teetering on the edge of legislative overreach. As constitutionalists for liberty with a moderate to conservative Republican slant, we see this as more than politics. It's a battle for the soul of our state. Well, let's break it down headline by headline and rally the Tar Heel and Duke spirit, or Wake Forest, or NC State Wolves, or whatever they call them, to defend our freedoms. Let's detail the headlines and facts, governance, and power dynamics. If GOP legislators have their way, NC's already weak governor could have very little power. North Carolina's governor has long been a figurehead with limited sway, a relic of our colonial past when royal governors lorded over the people. Political science professor Michael Blitzer of Catawba College notes this stems from a distrust of centralized power dating back to the 1700s. Today, Governor Josh Stein is arguably the weakest governor in the nation, a point Western Carolina University's Chris Cooper drives home with a quip. If the GOP strips any more authority, Stein will be left naked. Unlike other states, our governor has no line item veto, no say in redistricting, and no control over constitutional amendments or local bills affecting fewer than 15 counties. His budget? A suggestion lawmakers can and do toss aside. Now, Republican-led bills aim to shrink his influence even further, shifting power to the General Assembly or GOP-held executive officers. Bitzer sums it up, it's about showing who's in control. I know it's great, as a Republican, it's great to have the leadership, but I also worry about the checks and balances. That's what our national government goes by. And where are the checks and balances when you strip somebody completely of power? And hell, I ran for lieutenant governor, and I knew that I wasn't going to have much power, but you just kind of you're there. But you take the blame. We'll blame the governor for everything. We'll demonize him, no matter if it's the Republicans blaming the Democrats or the Democrats blaming the Republicans. That's what happens, even though we know that the governor here doesn't really have much power, just speaking. Get out there and speak. Stripping more governor power. Take House Bill 48, a double edged sword that censures former Governor Roy Cooper's use of emergency powers to boost unemployment benefits post Helene. While reluctantly ratifying his order, sponsor Representative Julia Howard, Republican, argues Cooper overstepped. But the bill's real aim is clear. Future governors can't act unilaterally in a crisis. Only the General Assembly or Congress can expand benefits. Democratic Representative Deb Butler says it's a calculated effort to undermine the balance of power, and she's right. Hate to say it. Then there's House Bill 144 proposing voters elect more of the state board of election. They elect most of the state board of election, stripping the governor's appointment power, and House Bill 64 requiring legislative approval for clemency actions. These constitutional amendments, if passed by voters, could gut executive authority further, centralizing control in a legislature that's been Republican since 2011. I would say that we did benefit here in Alamance County for the fact that our governor is not able to replace our state board of elections or our local, so we have a little bit more choice on who we can put into um, our educational. We have a little bit more choice of who we can put into our elections board. So they're expanding our election board to 6 members, and now the Republicans can have the chair. So that will kind of balance it out. We wouldn't have had that if they had limited the power of our governor. But it can always switch the other way, folks. Now, NC Governor Josh Stein calls for bipartisanship and efficiency and says he'll sign the Helene bill. In his first State of the State, we are so used to hearing State of the Union, State of the State address, Governor Stein stood before a Republican-dominated General Assembly pleading for unity. God, that sounds like Donald Trump standing in front of a Republican-led, but also having to answer to all these Democrats, and they're just pleading for unity, and they want to stand up and clap. Maybe it was different local. So let's get this. He's ready to sign a Helene relief bill. Despite its $500 million failing short of his $1.1 billion ask because Western North Carolina can't wait, Stein pitched a quote impact center to ensure tax dollars are spent wisely, a nod to efficiency without the chainsaw cuts of Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. He urged lawmakers to resist Washington's partisan game, saying, we can create something better, something forward looking right here in North Carolina, and we can do it together. It's a noble call, but with the GOP 1 vote shy of a veto proof majority, bipartisanship feels like a long shot. Now, North Carolina's new governor seeks more Helene aid and help for families in legislative address. Stein's address doubled down on Helene's recovery and affordability. He's pushing for billions more from the Trump administration while pressing lawmakers for immediate relief. Roads, bridges, and homes need rebuilding, and small businesses need grants to survive. On the home front, Stein wants middle-class cuts, but warns that planned corporate and high earner tax reductions could drain $825 million from state coffers, jeopardizing housing and child care aid. Are we just going to give money to out-of-state shareholders or invest in North Carolina families? We cannot afford both, he challenged. It's a populist pitch, but Republicans who tout tax cuts as economic fuel aren't budging. So let's talk about the legislative action and bills in the red. Senate Bill 382 sparks outrage. Senate Bill 382, a Helene relief package laced with power shifts, ignited fury. Audience members shouted, power grab, and the voter suppression from the Senate gallery, only to be ejected. And the bill handed the Governor's Utilities Commission pick to GOP Treasurer Brad Briner and election board appointments to GOP Auditor Dave Bullock. It shackled Stein's highway patrol and judicial picks with legislative oversight while stripping Democratic AG Jeff Jackson and Superintendent Mo Green of key powers. And Roy Cooper vetoed it as a sham, but the override stuck. Now it's tangled in lawsuits, a harbinger of the GOP's 2025 agenda. Let's move on to House Bill 48, limiting emergency powers. Now, this bill's hypocrisy is glaring. It slams Cooper's Helene aid expansion as illegal, yet blesses it after the fact, ensuring no governor can act alone again. It's a slap at executive agility in crises, favoring legislative gridlock over decisive action, a dangerous precedent for a state prone to national disasters. I mean, folks, we got to think about it. Donald Trump, the president, needs to be able to take care of national emergencies without running to the set legislature all the time. So even if we do have a Democrat governor, if we have a national disaster, natural disaster, he's got to take action right then. You can't wait around for people to assemble and decide and play politics, blah, blah, blah. We got to get the stuff going, at least temporary. So House Bill, here, let's move on. House Bill 144 and House Bill 64, constitutional amendments targeting education and clemency. Now, House Bill 144 would flip the State Board of Education to an elected body, diluting the governor's influence over schools. That's probably a good thing for now. House Bill 64 ties clemency to legislative approval, a move that prioritizes justice. Both need voter approval, but they signal a GOP bent on rewriting the rules. Moving on to bill barring NC Attorney General from challenging Trump passes the Senate. Senate Bill 58 passed 29-19 bars AG Jeff Jackson from contesting Trump's executive orders in court, even if the General Assembly agrees they're unlawful. Sponsor Senator Tim Moffett, Republican, calls it housekeeping, but critics like Senator Craig Meyer, Democrat, see it as a gag on state sovereignty. Paired with House Bill 72, it's a loyalty oath to Trump, risking North Carolina's ability to fight federal overreach. Senator Munchamba Muhammad, Democrat, warns it could come back to bite if party roles reverse. I agree. That's what people got to worry about. When things are reversed, are we going to be crying as Republicans? Oh my God, we can't get things done. That's why it makes elections even more important, and I think it's going to drive the Democrats out to the election booth in the midterms. And I'm going to tell you, fellow Republicans, you got to get out there. If you want the right people in, you got to find the right people, but you got to find people who can be elected and people who can be there for all the people, not just some of the people. Let's get back to Hurricane Helene's recovery. Helene's recovery efforts were highlighted by Governor Stein. Stein praised first responders and the NCDOT for reopening roads like I-40, but the job's far from done. With over 100 deaths and $60 billion in damages, he's begging for federal aid while nudging lawmakers for $500 million more. Quote, people need to get back to their homes. Roads and bridges need to be fixed. Businesses need to keep their doors open, he insisted. And House Speaker Destin Hall agrees that it's top priority, but haggling over details stalls progress. So let's move on to education and social policies. Stein wants police officer bonuses and higher teacher starting pay. Stein's pushing raises and bonuses for law enforcement and correctional officers, plus top-tier starting teacher pay in the Southeast, moving that one rare GOP applause. Hey, at least he's getting some applause from the opposite party. But his $4 billion school bond and cell phone-free classroom stance highlight a rift. He blasts private school vouchers while Republicans double down on school choice. So party politics and statements. NC GOP's statement on Democrats' silly anti-Doge stunt. The NC GOP blasted Democrats for protesting Trump's Doge cuts, snarkling, quote, Democrats didn't hold angry protests when inflation was hurting American families or when Western North Carolina desperately needed resources like after Hurricane Helene. They tout Trump re-election and GOP gains as proof Tar Heels do people, whatever you want to call it, want common sense leadership. So here is the Republican response by House Speaker Destin Hall. Hall's rebuttal of Stein praised Helene's recovery collaboration, but reaffirmed the GOP's Trump-aligned agenda, immigration enforcement, school vouchers, and tax cuts. Quote, "We've cracked the code on how to deliver common sense policies that fuel growth and protect our communities." He boasted, contrasting Raleigh's civility with DC's chaos. So here's the common threads: a constitutional crisis in the making. When you take a closer look at the situation, the story of North Carolina's political climate is clear. Our constitutional republic is facing serious challenges. The GOP led General Assembly is pushing the boundaries, asserting its control and shaping the state's future with legislation that consolidates power. While this may seem like a strategic move, it's not all black and white. After all, if the Democrats were in control, they would likely do the same. Politics, as usual, continues to unfold. From Governor Josh Stein's diminished influence to Attorney Jeff Jackson's role being confined, the intent to centralize control is undeniable. But it's not just about the GOP. This power struggle comes with deep implications for our state's future. In many ways, the disaster recovery efforts by Hurricane Helene have become a backdrop for maneuvering that raises questions about balance, accountability, and checks and balances. Bipartisanship is a nice fault, but the political games continue on both sides. As constitutionalists, we understand the need for balance and the risks that come with weakening any branch of government. A weak executive isn't ideal, but it's a political strategy often employed by both sides. Emergencies like Helene demand quick, decisive action, not endless delays. And the question of how far one branch should control others is an issue that must be addressed. The current debate over the Attorney General's power to challenge federal overreach is more than just a tactical move. It's about defining the scope of state sovereignty and respecting the rights of the people. The GOP's current approach may provide short-term victories, but it's a reminder of what happens when power consolidates in one place. It's the same kind of political maneuvering that would be expected from the Democrats if they held the majority. Ultimately, folks, true liberty thrives on a balance of powers, and there's always a risk that today's decisions could come back to haunt us when the political pendulum indefinitely swings in the future. We need to ensure that we don't just dominate the system, but preserve the integrity of the balance that has long been the hallmark of our constitutional republic. And I know that sounded like a passionate monologue, but here is the actual passionate monologue. Folks, this is North Carolina, the land of liberty, where the mountains rise as strong as the spirit of its people. But right now, our constitutional republic is facing critical challenges. The headlines make it clear. The General Assembly is making moves that shift power and influence, and while it may feel like a struggle, this is nothing new to the world of politics. If the Democrats were in charge, we'd see similar tactics on display. It's all politics as usual. Yes, Governor Josh Stein is calling for bipartisanship, but the GOP, like any party in power, is focusing on pushing its agenda, often at the expense of meaningful dialogue. And while it's true that Hurricane Helene has brought devastation, it's also spotlighted how power dynamics can complicate the recovery efforts. In times of crisis, we should expect a swift, united response, not delays driven by political maneuvering. As Constitutionalists for Liberty, we see this for what it is, a fundamental challenge to our balance of power. The founders gave us a system designed to ensure that no branch dominates the others. When Stein's hands are tied, when Attorney General Jeff Jackson's role is diminished, when partisan bills cloud the will of the people, the result isn't just about control. It's about undermining the very principles of liberty. And I know people go, oh my God, you're a Republican. How can you say things? I'm a constitutionalist for liberty. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Yes, Helene's victims need help. Yes, our kids deserve better schools. Yes, our state deserves leaders who fight for us, not ones who simply fall in line with DC. But at the end of the day, we recognize that political maneuvering isn't exclusive to one party or another, it's a part of the system. What matters is how we rise above it and fight to ensure our state continues to be a beacon of liberty and opportunity for all. So let's stand together, North Carolina. Let's demand a government that serves us all. It's time for rebuilding to begin, and we all have a role in making sure that the future of this great state remains in our hands. Our fight isn't about winning today, it's about securing our future. So let's take it back together. So let's talk about the hashtag GoRight Recap Remix. Here's the remix, folks. North Carolina's caught in a political tug of war. The GOP is making its move, challenging the status quo. It's not so conservative, is it? And while it may look like they're pushing for power, this is all part of the game that both sides play. Stein's calling for unity, but as with any party in control, the legislative is sticking to its playbook. And that includes taking cues from the national playbook, including Trump's influence. From education to emergency response, it's clear that the balance we hold dear is being tested. Yes, liberty is at risk, but remember, this isn't just a one-sided issue. It's a reminder of how both parties are guilty of trying to control the game. The challenge is real, but so is our ability to rise above and fight for what's right. So Tar Heels, North Carolinians, it's time to rally. Let's come together and protect our constitutional republic. It's our fight, and we won't back down. For more truth bombs, hit us up at GoRightNews.com and GoRightNC.com. Catch us on Rumble at GoRightNews and search for hashtag GoRight with Peter Boykin on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, Twitter, and beyond. Help us fight to keep the fight alive, or help us keep the fight alive. Drop a buck or two at Cash App, and this is the right one, $ GoRightNews. Links are live at GoRightNews.com, GoRightNC.com, and PeterBoykin.com. Let's keep liberty ringing from the mountains to the coast. And just a reminder, folks, hashtag GoRight is more than politics. It's a way of life. Go Right isn't about politics. It's about doing what's right in every aspect of life. It's about making choices that uplift, strengthen, and unite our communities. It means doing right, standing for truth, integrity, and accountability, thinking right, using logic, common sense, and fairness in decision making, being right, living with honor, respect, and responsibility, and voting right, electing leaders who put we the people first. Hashtag Go Right is a direction, a call to action of all those who believe in building, not destroying. It's about working toward a better future together. So thanks for tuning in, folks. And this has been hashtag Go Right News, and we have been concentrating on what's been going on in the North Carolina area. And I am glad you've tuned in. And we hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Hi, folks. This is Peter Boykin from hashtag Go Right. Let me break some things down. The future is up to you, and what are you willing to put into it? So will you hashtag Go Right for America? Will you participate in the great American revival? Because together we can and will make America great again. But it's up to you. It is up to you. It's time to join the Go Right movement. It is time to hashtag Go Right for America. Join us at GoRightNews.com. It is time for the great American revival, and it is time to hashtag Go Right for America.